Welcome back to Newsmakers. I'm Jane Ann Bugda along with Andy Mahalchik. And today we have an opportunity to introduce you to a brand new group. It's for families with children with special needs, and it's organized, headed by parents with children with special needs. So they've traveled this road and they want to help others with a brighter journey, which is the name of the organization. So today Andy and I are pleased to be joined by Lisa Urbanski, who was the founder of Brighter Journeys, Bernice Sando, who's also one of the founders of Brighter Journeys, and Janine Morrissey, who is one of the board members. Ladies, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
This is exciting for us because we are getting to learn about your group as you are beginning it. And we want to, our audience to know a little bit about you and what the organization is all about. So it's called Brighter Journeys. So take us back to the beginning. How did this idea come about?
Well, back in January, I made a phone call to Mohegan Sun asking if they'd be interested in doing an egg hunt for Easter for children with special needs. And they didn't know where to direct the call. And finally, I got a phone call back from a Michael Zlifka and inquired more about it. The information I gave him, after a few more phone calls with him and him learning about my story with my son, he said, I think there's a little bit more to this than an egg hunt. So I got Bernice involved and said, let's start a foundation for children with special needs. We're mothers with special need children. We know where it's needed in this area. And we formed a 501 after we spoke with a lawyer and got back in touch with Mohegan, and they said that they would do the egg hunt, and then it took off with talking about it, and then they asked if we would do a fundraiser, and it would be sponsored by Mohegan Sun. And we had the event October 21st, and it was supposed to be maybe 100 people, and we had over 300 attend that night.
So you got off to a wonderful start, a kickoff. So let's talk a little bit about your personal journeys. Now, Brighter Journeys is open to children with all types of needs.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about your personal journeys with your children.
Okay. I have a 15-year-old daughter, Jillian, with Down syndrome, and she's just a beautiful, loving child. We've been through some medical issues, but to me, I have a very healthy child. I think she's good in school. She loves sports. She's happy, and
she's a teenager.
She's a teenager, a typical teenager. So, and she's just been a blessing to my family.
And Liam, my son Liam, is 8 years old, going to be 9 in February, and Liam is autistic and intellectually disabled. So he's doing well. He's happy. He's healthy. He's in regular classes, sometimes in school. So we're progressing. He's definitely doing well.
And do you want to share your story?
Joseph is 11 years old. He was diagnosed with partial trisomy 16, which is a rare chromosome abnormality. And eventually we got the diagnosis of autism. Joseph's had 27 surgeries. So all of this being down at Children's Hospital a lot, there's a lot of support from moms, support boards, and I wanted to bring that to this area. So that's another way. I want to say it was a model, but it was definitely an inspiration to bring what they do for moms to this area.
Now, if I can, it's called Brighter Journeys. Mm-hmm. I think and I had the impression, and there's so many great organizations out there, so many great groups and services, but you fill a void, a vacant, you provide something that just wasn't there. Explain that. You were saying about the support for moms when you leave the hospital and resources.
Right. When
you're on your own.
Exactly, yes. You're on your own. Having Joseph being in a NICU unit for close to 5-6 months, he came home with a trach and a feeding tube. At that time, there weren't even pediatric nurses with trach care experience. Well, I didn't have it either, but you learn it and you do what you have to do. So basically for 2 years, you're in your own little world taking care of your child with disabilities with medical necessities. After the 2 years, you're introduced to early intervention, and then you start meeting all these moms with these children with disabilities, and you wished you have met them the day you brought your baby home. So what we want to do is, that's what we want to bring to this area. And there's nothing closer than the OBGYNs. We want to go to them, and we want them to be able to put into in place almost a care package for the mother after she has her baby, to have all of our information in it, and just to say it's going to be okay, and just have her know that there's other mothers out there that get it. Not just the caseworkers, the social workers are all wonderful, but it's different when you talk to another parent, another family who's going through the same thing that you have gone through or you're going through at the same time.
Because you know how they feel.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
You're very panicked when you find out your
Yes.
child has a disability and you don't know what to do.
Right.
You don't know where to go. Nobody tells you anything. The doctor says, here's this child, and, you know, go see a pediatrician. But still, you don't know what a TSS worker is. You don't know what a
Yeah,
BSC
there's so many
is. You don't
things
know
out there
what these
that you
things are.
hear the words and you just don't know what does it mean. What does it mean? So we've been down that road. Whether if all three of us have different stories with our children, so we just know there's always going to be somebody that we could connect with, somebody that could connect with us.
I felt when I had my daughter, and it's odd, but it was 2001, and I just felt like I was the only person that ever had a disabled child. It was just like, here you go, and there was no answers and no one to turn to. And I just felt at that point that, someone should have came in and said, it's going to be okay. You just here's
want
where
the
you
compassion
go.
there.
Here's a number, here's what you have to do, and you're going to be okay. And 15 years later, I understand that, but when you're going through those first couple years, you don't. You
Right.
don't.
So we really want to be support and a resource for
And
new
moms
mothers.
really connect.
Yes.
Moms really
Absolutely.
connect.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
The families connect.
Yes.
And that's another thing we had talked about earlier. And oftentimes it is a mom, a single mom. It may be a mother and a father, but it may also be a
Grandparent,
grandparent,
right.
or somebody out there who is now in charge of a child with a special need who may not know where to turn. And like we said, there's a lot of wonderful organizations for maybe each specific disability, but a lot of times, as we know, babies don't come with manuals.
Right.
So, it's hard enough when you bring home a baby and you're on your own trying to, figure out feeding and all that, but then you have another challenge on there. And maybe somebody out there watching may say, that's me.
Right.
And maybe I just had my child, or maybe I'm 5 years into this, and now here are some moms that can talk to me about this. But how important is it, as well as talking about, young mothers, is your group interested in hearing from people that have maybe had somebody, maybe 20 years, with someone that say, hey, you know what, I can really offer some advice.
Absolutely.
Oh, for sure. Definitely.
So right now, how many people are in this or have you touched? I know every day you're on your Facebook page and your website. So and you said you're right now based in Luzerne County, but you're also reaching out to talking to people all across the region.
We are. When we started the whole Brighter Journeys and just wanted the egg hunt and realized how this was taking off, we were told, you need a board of directors. So when we formed our board of directors and were connected to different people, and we started after having the event in October, then the emails started coming and the phone calls started coming out, and it is people from Tunkhannock, people from Stroudsburg, people from Carbon County, and asking, we know that it's just Luzerne County, but we need help too. So of course we want to touch everybody. We want to help. We want to help.
Were you surprised at all, not just by the response, but that there was such what appears to be a void in this kind of support? Again, the hospital provide great things. There's agencies for specific disabilities or challenges, but generally speaking, coming home with a special needs child, that there was such a need out there. Are you surprised by that?
We shouldn't be surprised
Well,
by yeah.
we were.
Absolutely.
Yes. It took us a long time to think about it and talk it over with each other, but then you realize there definitely is a void.
There is such a void. And it's nice to hear Dr. Sahish is Joseph's pediatrician, and she is also on our board of directors. And to have a pediatrician be excited about this, or my OBGYN, now GYN, Dr. Zalatimo, who is also excited about this, to have them say, yes, it's needed in this area, it makes us,
Feel, yeah, better.
yeah, a lot better.
And what are some of the common concerns that, people may not realize that a family with a child with a special need has? What are some of the most common concerns that you may have or hear?
Well, how to work the system, where to go, how to get the help that you need, because unfortunately, you may get denied for things, and you have to find loopholes within the system, and who better to be able to find those loopholes than somebody else who's been there
through that, yeah.
and knows, rather than having to jump through 20 different hoops to get one thing done.
We'll already have
We'll
that
already have that and say,
information.
listen, don't go there, go here, and you'll get what you need.
And, I mentioned earlier that, you're talking about children that are younger, babies, but then there's also a void out there for a lot of teenagers with special needs and older adults in their 20s. Are they someone that you would be open to saying, hey, come
Yes.
here and talk
yes,
with
we've
us?
talked about it, and
Because you have a teenager.
I have a teenager, and we even know people with children that are older, and we still call them children.
Yes.
And that's
How can you not?
It's for a special needs person, any special needs person.
And unfortunately, as they get older and they age out, a lot of the times there's nothing for them.
Yeah, we keep hearing waivers, and we don't.
So,
we don't know what like we're still figuring things out.
yeah, I mean, it's really sad. Once they hit 21, if they're in a school, they age out of the system, there's really nothing for them. There's if they have an intellectual disability, there's the mental health services that are provided to them, but really that's all that they get. So it would be nice to have even have some kind of support group for mothers
Right.
of older adult children or older adults who they care for, to be able to talk to somebody,
Right.
just to say, it's going to be okay. We're in this together.
And
You're not
with
by
all that
yourself.
saying, with going into our children are not always going to be children. Our big dream of what we do want for our whole Brighter Journeys is, I don't want my son in a group home. Group homes are wonderful. I don't think they're for everyone. But what we would love is a facility built for when we're not here, a facility for the adults with special needs, and a community for them to be in when we're not here. So that is one of our biggest dreams.
That's the big dream of Brighter
is to
Journeys
have a
is-
facility built for our children when they're adults that we know they're going to be taken care of.
where they're happy, they're healthy, they're safe, and it's a community that they're with their friends, and
That's
just
the big
happy.
picture.
Want them to be happy later on.
Live a meaningful life.
Have a meaningful life.
And that's obviously a big fear for moms.
Absolutely.
Because you're thinking,
Every night you go to bed.
realistically,
Exactly.
what happens
Nobody
when I'm not here?
exactly, and nobody takes care of that special need child like the parent. And you go to bed every night thinking, who's going to do this when we're 60, 70, 80 years old? They're not going to be this small forever. They're going to be adults. So you just want them to be in a safe environment.
Well, we are going to take a quick break, and we want to remind you that information on today's show can be found on pahomepage.com. We're under the Newsmakers link. You're watching Newsmakers. We are a proud recipient of 2 Pennsylvania Association of Broadcasters Awards for excellence in public affairs programming, and we'll be right back.